Bollywood Silver Screen presents Sully. The story begins with a plane taking off from New York. Its pilot is named Sully. He is accompanied by a co-pilot. 3 minutes after takeoff, when the plane is at an altitude of 2,800 feet, a flock of birds collides with the plane, completely damaging both of its engines. Sully radios this information to the control room. The control room tells him to return. They are clearing the runway for him. Sully says, "We can't return. We're landing on the Hudson River." The control room tells Sully that the runway has been cleared for him. He should return quickly. Sully says, "We won't be able to reach it. We have to land on the Hudson River, a very large river. No one has ever landed on it before." The control room wants to order him to return. But their contact is lost, and Sully, along with the pilot, lands the massive plane with a powerful jerk on the Hudson River. Everyone inside is terrified. All emergency doors are then opened, and everyone is evacuated one by one. All passengers stand on the wings of the plane. Soon, water steamers arrive to take the passengers back to safety. Helicopters also arrive, equipped with swimmers, who rescue those trapped in the water. Thus, everyone's lives are saved, and Sully and his co-pilot finally escape the plane. The passengers, now convinced that they are all safe, call their loved ones to inform them that they are completely fine. Indeed, after such a massive plane crash, no one can truly believe they survived. Not a single passenger is even scratched, not even the control room officer who lost contact with the plane. He had assumed that no one would survive the plane crash. But then his colleague arrives and informs him that the plane has landed safely in the Hudson River and all passengers are completely safe. Sully is now called in for questioning. The inquiry committee asks him why he didn't return to the airport when he received orders to do so. Sully explains, "As soon as I took the left turn, I became convinced I couldn't get back to the airport. That's why I had to land the plane in the Hudson River." The committee asks him, "How did you calculate that you couldn't get back?" Sully explains, "Over the past 40 years, I've flown thousands of times. My experience convinced me I couldn't get back to the airport." The committee tells Sully, "We'll conduct a computerized investigation. That means I'll replicate the entire situation you faced. We'll feed it into a computer and run a computerized plane to see if you made the right decision. Could you come back?" Sully and his co-pilot are at a loss. They felt they had done the right thing. But now a committee of inquiry has been set up against them. When Sully returns home, there's a lot of media praising him. Everyone asks him how he averted such major disaster. What was the situation when both engines failed? Sully doesn't answer anyone. The next day, media reports begin to surface that Sully could have brought the plane back to the runway, that is, the airport. But he landed the plane in the Hudson River, endangering the lives of all the passengers. Whether Sully is a hero or a villain will only be known when the committee delivers its final verdict. Sully becomes deeply troubled by all this. He goes to meet his co-pilot. He tells him, "I've flown thousands of flights over the past 40 years, transporting millions of people safely from one place to another. But today, after 40 years, I'm being judged for those 208 seconds when I decided to land the plane on the Hudson River." His co-pilot says, "Once the computerized data comes in, it will prove that the decision you made was absolutely correct." But Sully is deeply troubled by everyone's doubts about him. Consequently, Sully keeps having visions of the plane he landed on the Hudson River heading toward the city. But it misses the runway and crashes into a building. Sully is now completely mentally disturbed. The inquiry committee summons him again and tells him that even after the bird strike, the left engine of his plane was perfectly fine. If he wanted, he could have returned to the airport. Sully says, "I'd like to see that engine." The inquiry committee says the plane was completely destroyed after the crash. Sully says the plane didn't crash. I landed it on the Hudson River. The inquiry committee says that even if we ignore the left engine, the plane still had enough power to return to the runway, meaning the airport. We've conducted computerized tests, and all of them have shown that the plane could have been brought back to the airport, Sully says. I'd like to see all the parameters used in this test. The inquiry committee tells Sully, we can't share any information with you right now. We'll share all the information once the full test is complete. In fact, everyone believes that Sully made a mistake. He should have returned to the airport runway, and if it's proven that Sully made a mistake, his career as a pilot will be ruined forever. Sully is told that he has been retired until the inquiry is complete. He will not receive any pension. This upsets Sully's wife, but she tells her husband that he is a hero everywhere in the media. Everyone is praising him, and the inquiry committee will have to accept this. In fact, some TV shows are interviewing Sully and his team and praising them for their work. But Sully is deeply troubled because he wants a clean chit from the inquiry committee so that he can fly again. So he calls his superior and asks them to rearrange the computerized test once again. In other words, he wants to set it up again, and this time he will also be present. His request is accepted, and now he appears before all the committee members, where there are 2 screens. These screens will show a scene where 2 computerized simulators are set up, and pilots are seated inside these machines. They will be presented with the same situations that Sully and his co-pilot faced. First, a plane is simulated and safely lands at the same spot where the bird strike happened. Returning to the airport, it lands on the runway. Then, the other pilots are given a similar scenario, and they also land safely on the runway. This seems to prove that Sully made a mistake. He should have returned to the airport instead of landing on the Hudson River. Sully is deeply affected by this. But he quickly explains that the pilots in the simulation aren't acting like real humans when a bird hits their plane. They turned back as if they were just going to pick up some milk, which wasn't the case. After the bird strike, when we realized both our engines were damaged, we faced a lot of different situations. If you want to find human error, you have to make it fully human. I want to know how many times the pilots practiced. The woman there says 17 times. Sully's co-pilot says it wasn't a video game, it was a matter of life and death for a lot of people. Now the test is repeated, just as Sully had said. They take a 35-second pause after the bird strike. This was the amount of time it took Sully and his co-pilot to realize that both their engines were damaged. And now, in the computerized test, they take a 35-second pause after the bird strike. After that, the plane is turned toward the runway, but it doesn't make it. It lands before reaching it. This means Sully made the right decision, according to the first test. Then, the same test is repeated, and this time too, the plane fails to reach the runway. It hits a building and crashes completely. This means that if Sully hadn't made that decision, if he hadn't landed the plane on the Hudson River, all 155 passengers on board would have died. They also find the plane's left engine, which the inquiry committee believed was fine. However, after examining it, it was revealed that it was completely damaged. This means that Sully and his co-pilot had provided accurate information, stating that both their engines were completely damaged. This means Sully's decision was absolutely crapped. The inquiry committee has come to terms with this. Therefore, they tell Sully what you did was absolutely right. Without you, so many lives wouldn't have been saved. Sully says, I didn't do it alone. Our entire team was involved, as well as the people who pulled us out of the water. This incident occurred on January 15, 2009, in which Sully saved so many lives. Sometimes, even after performing heroic deeds, you still have to endure many trials in life. One should never fear any test. If you are truthful and courageous, nature supports you. You can pass any test. This movie was released in 2016 and has a rating of 7.4 on IMDb. The budget of this movie was $6 million, and it grossed $141 million at the box office. We hope you enjoyed this story.